Welcome back into another episode of Beers and Ball. And I got a special guest today. His name is Heath Soder. He's the only man to ever go to every single one of the Green Bay Packers championship games. So it's very, very exciting to have this man come along. Soder, how the hell are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Nick?
Good, I'm doing great. So,
What are you drinking today?
I'm keeping it cheap. I'm drinking Bush Light. Keeping it's my go-to beer during the week. But what do you got over there?
Seltzer water.
Okay, that's fair.
The weight loss track continues,
As the
man.
weight loss track continues, well, Soder, if this is your first time here, the purpose of this show is to just have friends of mine come on that no matter what team it is and just talk ball while also drinking beer. But you don't have to drink beer for me. I'll go ahead and salute to the Green Bay Packers.
Skull.
So, what I want to start out with you, Soder, is I want to see when did you first become a Packers fan, and what made you become a Packers fan?
So I was born in Wisconsin. I was indoctrinated from an early age. So in the early 70s, it was, parents watching Packers football. My dad was a big Packer fan. He had grown up in Nebraska, and the Packers had drafted a center out of there. And so I think he was like a lifelong Packers fan from that. And actually might have been one of the reasons he moved to Wisconsin. Yeah, it was just, fully indoctrinated right off the bat. Regrettably, though, I was indoctrinated in 1970s Green Bay Packer football.
Yeah, and that's what we were going to just get into is why don't you tell all the young, new Packer fans, probably within my age 30 to probably 35, what was the 70s like? Because that seems like what the most daunting time period of the Green Bay Packers.
Well, football was really different in the 70s, right? That's the first thing. It was a running first game. The guys ran all the time. Um, you know, the 1972 Packers made the division round for the playoffs. They only completed like 100 passes for 1,500 yards over a 14-game season. You could not
That's
throw the
insane.
ball. And
Was it a talent thing? Was it a talent from the
well, for
quarterbacks?
them, it
Or?
was a talent thing. They had no quarterbacks, and they really didn't have a lot of receivers either. But, high end receivers were like guys who were getting maybe 50, 70 receptions for 700 yards. So throwing the ball was hard. It's chicken wing blocking. You couldn't hold. You could get blunted at the line, which meant that he could put his hands on you anywhere throughout the route before the ball went into the air. And they did that kind of stuff. And so it was a hard game. And you look at those stats and you think about what it was like. And guys like Lydell Mitchell, there was a lot more throwing proportionally to the running backs. So like in 72, it was MacArthur Lane was the primary passing weapon and stuff like that. But there was a dearth of talent at quarterback. There were no quarterbacks. Scotty Hunter was awful. Jerry Taggy was awful. They had burned a first round pick on Taggy. They moved 2 second-round picks for Jim Delgazzo. And then they moved a boatload of picks for John Hadel. And then they even had to move picks to get Lynn Dickey. And it was just like they basically gutted out. There were no upper end picks from like 1974 through 1977. They were just gone in this never-ending obsession to get a quarterback. And so it was a tough road because there was no talent coming in behind it. They couldn't get any better. So from 73 to 77 was awful. It was just horrific.
And that's what makes me lucky. I mean, I've only seen competent quarterback play my entire life. I think of 90. I was born in '96. So I had Favre, and then go right into Rodgers, and then right into Jordan Love. Now, if you had to start a franchise today, would you take Bart Starr, Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love, or David Whitehurst?
Well, David Whitehurst is probably the sixth best quarterback in Packer history.
That's what makes this intriguing.
Nobody wants to admit it. No, and people mock Whitehurst, but in '78 they go 8-7-1, and man, they were scoring points in the first half of the season of 1978, which is something they had never done for the better part of the last 3 to 4 years. And then the wheels came off, and they regressed back to the old school Packers and finished 8-7-1 and missed the playoffs. And I sometimes wonder what would have happened had they won 1 or 2 more games down the stretch, because they started 6-2, and then just they collapsed. And had they made the playoffs, does that change the dynamic of the trajectory of the Packers back in the day? Because that changes things to an extent and gets Bart into the playoffs as a coach, and maybe people view him differently on that and things like that. But if I was going to start a franchise, and I'm starting them with, are we starting with the young guy, or are we, what is this, peak quarterback, or is this rookie quarterback?
You can play that however you want to. If you
I
want
think
them,
if it's rookie quarterbacks, I'm going with Rodgers. He just too efficient. Um,
because that
too
the
on
one
top
thing
of
that a lot
things.
of Packer like fans that don't really know a whole lot about is how Bart Starr struggled early until he got with Lombardi.
I mean, I like Bart, and Bart probably is the all-time greatest Packer, but just Bart does not have the physical tools to compete in the modern NFL. So that's not a knock.
It's just with the world we live in. Now, when did you start taking Packers football like almost serious, where it was something that was part of like your daily life?
Um, Boy, probably when I was a kid. I mean, the only time I didn't really take Packer football very seriously was from like 1985 to 1988 when I was in the Army, because I couldn't get any Packer news. Right,
Yeah,
sitting in Georgia, it's just you're not going to pick anything up. So I
you
mean,
got three channels, and not one of them is going to be the Packers.
well, I got some ESPN, but they're not putting Packer football on during the Forrest Gregg era. Um, yeah, so yeah, I mean, it's always been there. I mean, I think. Um, from my family experience, Packer football was one of kind of the great socializing event in my household. So it's always been important. It's always been something you pay attention to. And then I was a draft nerd too. I mean, I would cut school and stay at home and watch the NFL draft out of the Sheraton in New York City on ESPN and stuff. So I always liked NFL football a lot, and I like the Packers a lot more than I like NFL football. So it just kind of goes like that.
Yeah, and for me, like I wasn't for a lot of my life. I always liked the Packers, but I wasn't really like into the NFL. Kind of until I probably stopped playing football, and then I had like a different outlook on it, and that's when I became a football like an NFL fan because college football is hard to watch. Because in my opinion, it's the future teachers and accountants of the world playing, and I just like to see the best in the world play myself. Now, looking over the last, let's say, 20 years back, let's just date it back to 2000. That was a book.
Yeah.
What team let you down the most that had the most potential?
Well, it's 2011, right?
I mean, with 15-1, 14-2?
There's the Brett Favre throwing the orbit ball in Philadelphia. Uh, that entire game, Amon Green had been getting like 6 yards a carry. The Packers get the ball to start overtime. All he had to do was turn around and hand the ball off like 5 times to Amon Green. They kick the field goal and they're out of there, but instead he throws up the stupid ass orbit ball. But Brett doing Brett stuff.
You know what you're getting from him.
That was disappointing because that team I think had some things going too, because that was the year Amon was just crazy rushing the football. But yeah, it's the 2011 team. I mean, that was just I have no idea what happened to that defense down the stretch, but it just totally went off the rails.
Yeah, I know. For me, mine is the probably the it was the 2020 when we played Tampa Bay, or is it 21 Tampa Bay? I forgot what year. Well, I was deployed in Qatar, watching it in a small little Connex on a projector going off my wall with some near beer, some little Heinekens with 0% alcohol in them at about 4:30 in the morning. That was probably like that just hurt once David went down. It was just a wreck from there, and that really hurt because I was like, I never felt like it was this close before,
Yeah,
outside of the actual Super Bowl year.
I think that was a bad one too when Kevin King drops coverage. Which what the hell are you doing, Kevin? But by that token too, that is 2020, and that was the COVID year,
Yeah,
and so there's no fans in the stand. You finally get home field advantage, and there's no
10,000.
home
I
field.
think there was like
There's
a
no
little over 10,000 that were at that
Yeah,
game.
it's a high school game crowd,
Yeah.
and a big cavernous thing. So I mean, it just it was what it was, and um, I think that's kind of if there's a string of disappointment, it is Brett Favre doing really stupid stuff in the playoffs, like 6 picks or whatever it was against the Rams. And then it's like, I don't know what it was with Aaron Rodgers, but Aaron Rodgers just would go into a shell
He did.
come playoff time, unless they were playing in Dallas.
Which was just so crazy to me on how talented he is, and then it would just all go away as soon as like the play, because he would normally get through if we had a wild card game, normally get through it, and then he'd either trip up in the divisional game.
I'm losing you, Eddie.
Oh, you got me still? I think so. It's coming back.
There we go.
Okay. Back. Yeah, for me it was like when Aaron would get to the wild card game, he'd usually take care of business in the wild card game, and then it'd get to the divisional and then kind of mess up a little bit, like we lost something. Like when we played the Falcons in that NFC Championship game, I'd go in, I have no chance. It was just, we had no right to be there in the first place, having 3 practice squad corners on the field. And he's good, going against like the hottest receiver at the time. Like, oh god, no way. But to kind of move it forward to like our Packers team now, does Matt LaFleur trust Jordan Love?
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like it.
Look, the bulk of the passing game has been intermediate to deep, right? They haven't been doing a lot of the bubble screens. They haven't been doing a lot of the short, shallow stuff. If they're throwing the ball, he is throwing the ball downfield. I think he's either number 1 or number 2 in the league right now in yards per attempt. So you're not throwing the ball like that unless you trust the guy.
Yeah, I mean, do you think some people get like misguided based off the statistics because he's only throwing 25 to 26 passes a game outside of that Cowboys game? He only has almost a small sample size compared to a lot of quarterbacks that are throwing up in the 35s to 37 range.
Yeah, I think part of it though too is Eddie, is if you look at the first 2 games, they didn't get a lot of offensive snaps.
Yeah,
they ran like 40 to 50 offensive.
Yeah, I think it was roughly around 50.
Right, and so in a short snap count,
you can only do so much.
You're only going to get so many reps, right? So the offense has been, look, they're not generating turnovers, right? They're consistently scoring 27 points a game. And
that's like the number. That's their number.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not, they're only punting the ball maybe 2 or 3 times a game, and they're scoring points on every other possession. They're super efficient.
That's the thing, that their offense is super efficient, especially on third down. I think they lead the league in third down efficiency, especially like versus the yardage that they're on. Do you think that there's the concern or the desperation that's coming from big media, smaller media, and the concern that this Packers team is like a bad team, or they're not living up to their full potential?
I think there's a inherent negativity of being a Wisconsin sports fan.
That's correct. The sky is always falling.
And so I think there's an overlay of that in there. I think the hot start really ramped up expectations, and then the stupidity of the Cleveland game and the idiocy of the Dallas game, I think, really kind of brought people back to earth. I'm going to say this, though. I think a lot of the near-term stuff that we've been seeing specifically with the Bengals and post-Bengals game, I think there's a lot of Brewers angst in the air.
You think a lot of the Brewers?
I think that's getting transferred over.
That makes sense.
Right? I think a lot of people were kind of on edge with that Cubs game, and it was tight the whole game, and by God it worked out. And I just kind of think that they're kind of unable to let go of that, and it kind of transferred over.
Everything in Wisconsin sports right now, outside of Wisconsin, college football is just at the skin of your teeth. You're either getting by or losing by. Outside of Wisconsin, like Badgers is bad. I was talking to my uncle who's a Wisconsin Badger grad or fan. I don't know if he went there or not. He probably did. But he's like, I'm not even watching the game this weekend against Ohio State. I'm going to the mountains. I'm passing. I'm going to take a pass on that. So with the run game, Soder, is it the problems that it's having? I mean, they played better in the second half because they made the pass play off the run. Instead of the run pass, they were passing to set up the run, which I think is the ultimate thing that's going to make this Packers team go forward, because then you're not going to get a whole lot of 8-man boxes. But is it the boxes that they're facing, or is it the schematics of trying to pull against pressurized defenses that's the problem for this run game?
Uh, I think if they want to run wide, they need to run with Emmanuel Wilson and just get out of the Josh Jacobs trying to go wide stuff.
I
They
think
got
that's
Josh
good.
Jacobs. We're going downhill, and just leave it at that and simplify the run attack with Jacobs. If you want to get into the spiffy stuff that Matt LaFleur likes to do, then you got Chris Brooks and you got Emmanuel Wilson. Go do it with those guys. Um, I think the offensive line has been problematic, and I don't know if they're going to get it fixed at a level that's going to make people go, "Oh wow, look at that! This is great."
Is
This whole
Josh? Are we
season.
missing Josh Myers? Are we in the place now where we miss Josh Myers at center?
Josh Myers at center gave them flexibility up front. They don't have any flexibility. You know what? It's really interesting. It's something you didn't think about a lot when it happened. Is my God, they really missed Travis Glover.
Yeah,
The Travis Glover getting injured in the preseason was a disaster.
because he was what,
Uh,
the seven guy, the seventh guy coming off the bench.
yeah, and he was the primary interior. So I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, that's interesting. I think I was kind of surprised they didn't run Kennard at right guard, but
I
he,
like. Well, Jordan Morgan did a great job at right
he
guard,
did a great job. But
but how consistent is he going to be? Because we've seen him already play pretty bad at right guard in moments. I think, but the difference is I'm getting sick and tired of the gimmicky run plays that Matt LaFleur does. When you have a guy like Jacobs, just run the ball downhill. He doesn't like. I mean, Jacobs is great with his one cut, two cut, like on the toss out. But why can't we do single eye? Let's just run the ball. Let's run the damn ball. Right down. Inside zone. That's what we scored a touchdown on. Both those two were just straight downhill. No motion gimmicks. Let's toss it out to Josh Jacobs when he's just not that back. Maybe Marshawn Lloyd can be that back when he gets out there, but you have to have a certain different speed threshold to really work those type of plays and all of these traps and motions that were killing them so bad because we've been playing penetrating defenses.
yeah,
And now we play a soft defense that just wants to sit in cover two and not really get a whole lot of movement. We had more success, but we should have had, in my opinion, twice as many rushing yards against this team. I think we kind of let up a little bit, and I think that's just maybe Matt LaFleur's way of coaching football is the non-embarrassment style, which is fine, but you're just not going to win a lot of games by 20 to 25 points.
yeah. I think it's more to do with I think when Matt LaFleur gets a lead of two scores, he kind of gets into his bag of tricks, right?
A Bo Melton reverse.
Yeah, exactly. Stuff like that, right? I mean, it's just like
That still
he can't,
frustrates
he
me.
can't help himself. So,
I mean, that drive specifically, it looked like Matt LaFleur was just picking plays out of his pocket, throwing it against the wall, and was like, maybe one of this will work. I mean, that was just bad. And why do you choose Bo Melton to be that guy for you? Is it because he usually comes out on run plays that they're like, okay, we'll get him on a run play because when they see Malik Heath out there and Bo Melton out there, we're running the ball. That's the only thing that comes to my mind that makes sense.
sure.
Yeah, just
I don't know.
but the play doesn't make sense though to do that. That does you have so many other guys that can do better. That
No,
are
and you had had success being conventional.
I mean, we talked about it. Is there a coach award for reverses? How many reverses you can run in not only a game but a season? I mean,
I
how
think there is.
how does a defensive coordinator not on the other side be like, well, we're going to get about 5 to 6 reverses each game at least. We're getting 5 to 6. But moving forward, who's the since you are the O line connoisseur in my eyes? Who's the
Yeah.
best five? Let's say with all they're all healthy in consideration. They're all healthy. Who's the best five?
I mean, this is difficult because I mean the one they're going to roll with is going to be Walker, Banks, Jenkins, Morgan, and Tom. But if you were to say let's put the best out there, you would probably kick Morgan to left tackle, Banks at left guard. You'd probably want to move Tom into center. Maybe maybe Banks goes to right guard or Jenkins at left because I don't think Jenkins can play the other side, and then you probably go with Banks at tackle, right?
I
I
mean, it
mean,
sounds about right, but I think there's a lot of I think the salary
it's
cap
just too many moving parts.
that and money because you're paying him to be you're not going to pay Zach Tom
Tom,
that much
yeah,
money to play center.
I know.
That's the even though that
But
would
you
be
may
the
want to get
best.
used to that because I think that's probably what's probably going to happen next year.
That's hey, but I mean, as the salary cap grows, that might be the going number because he got a good contract. That might be the going number for it. And now,
It's going to be interesting though because next year they're going to have to probably take 3 offensive linemen.
which is fine. The beginning of this year is exactly the blueprint on why you take offensive linemen early. It's not sexy. Nobody likes it. You don't stay up till 11:30 when the Packers are picking at 29 to 32 to see some offensive lineman you have no idea who it is at what school be picked. But then when it's week 2 and that left tackle that is on his contract year is out, now your first round rookie's got to come in. Now you're like, damn, that makes sense. Instead of a luxury pick that you don't need. Now,
did you have any thoughts on the Rashad Gary talk today?
No, it ain't happening. There's no way. Especially
who the hell came up with this idea?
Because I had my buddy who's a Panthers fan on the other day, and he just texted me today their best pass rusher just went out, and I was like, oh yeah, just come knock on our door. We got 55 in Ibarra. He only gets about 5 snaps a game, and he's if he's in a full time role, I think he's like a 6 to 8 sack guy a year. That's a fourth, fifth round pick. Because we have too much depth in that room, but not too much depth where you give away that other piece. Because Gary's numbers was great through the first 2 weeks. But they're still not bad because these offenses we're playing are playing the perfect scheme against a front like this. I mean, but I don't know if every NFL team can just get the ball away on a 2-step drop. I don't know if that's winning. If that's a winning formula in the long run.
The Lions can.
Well, I don't know. I see Jared Goff always taking at least 3 to 5, at least.
Okay. Also gets out quick, man.
I know. But if we could ever get a holding call, we'll get into the officiating in a little bit. I got one more offensive thing for you, and it's Christian Watson. Do you think he plays Sunday?
No.
Why? It's a great field for him to start on.
No, Arizona has horrific turf.
Yeah, but it's grass.
We're in Arizona, and the Arizona turf is awful.
No, they bring in the grass. It's real grass.
No, go read on that.
It's bad? Oh, I know. Yeah, I mean, I've seen some injuries there, but I mean, at some point, he's going to have to play on a bad surface. At some point.
Yeah, but I mean, you don't want him right out of the box.
Well, you'd rather him start in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, there's a nugget of truth to that too. Yes, I would, because that's the Rodgers game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'd rather have. I think he plays, but not in any sort of big capacity. Maybe third downs, second and longs. Get him 15, 16 snaps out there where it's not a lot relying on him. But get like Marcus Parsons' ramp up period, but on a much smaller scale, so he can get hit once or twice and get him out there and run blocking. He's a great run blocker. Get him out there and situationally. But when he is fully back, how much is that going to open up this Matt LaFleur offense?
So is Reed back at the same time, or we have to wait on Reed?
Well, do you think when Reed comes back, he's going to be thrown right into it, or do you think he's going to have a ramp-up period as well?
I think they'll probably throw him right into it.
Well, let's say he's all the way back, right? Because he's going to be in, probably
and
two.
That really opens up the playbook because you have 2 guys who are pushing the safeties deep, and you got Reed working the underneath.
Are we going to run into a problem where we have too many mouths and not enough food on the table?
No, you don't have that problem.
I don't know. Well, do you think that's when those Matt LaFleur starts throwing the ball more because it's just he can spread it out a lot better? Because I think 33 runs for like 100.
Their ability to spread it out and their ability to push safeties deep should help the running game, right?
You're going to have to stay in a cover 2 shell. You're not going to be able to run cover 3 because you're just going to get.
And you are going to be able to push people out of the box by using your receivers. So I don't know. We'll have to see.
It's a good problem to have.
It's a good problem to have. I think if Matt had his druthers, he'd like to throw the ball more.
But it's just so crazy that he doesn't do that though. If he had it his way, like it just seems like in so many possessions that we have, we'll get like a 3, just like after he's got the 3 points, and we get a 3 and out. He comes back and just dirt plays and that set up nothing.
Well, I will say this: in the Bengals game, they wore the Bengals out, man. and
Oh,
you stick with the run in that
yeah.
situation. You
I mean, I
make that.
understand that. I just hate seeing possessions where it feels like a complete waste.
Yeah.
Well, because it's just 3 plays and a minute and a half off and putting it
Well,
right
the
back.
only time you get upset on those wasted series is when they start doing boatloads of end arounds on this.
That's I just
And then you just go, "What the hell are you doing,
I go, what
man?"
the hell? Because the thing is
Or
with
the
the reverses,
spinner pitch to Jacobs on the edge.
when it works, it's like this is great. But it's like the percentage that it works versus the percentage that it not. Matt wouldn't be a good baseball player. He would not be a good hitter on his averages on some of these gimmick plays that just don't work. But let's move on. Let's move over to the defense. Do we have a edge rush problem or do we have a coverage problem when it
Well,
comes to the sack production?
uh, I think it's the. I don't think. Have you seen a corner in a position to make a pick?
Nope, not even
And
close.
it's a coverage problem.
Yeah, because I've seen so many people talk about the turnovers, because the only way we could ever generate turnovers over these last few games is by fumbles, because you're not going to get a pick because they're not throwing it deep and they're just throwing out routes and slants and doesn't matter which corners on the field, none of them are close because they don't want to give up a big play, but you have to adjust at some point. You have to start playing some press man and making the quarterback take an extra beat or two. Look at more than your first read, because Joe Flacco was throwing to his first read almost every time outside of that one time he got sacked. Almost, he just out. I mean, it had to have been like 10 out routes that he threw in that game for 7 yards a clip.
Dimes though too.
He did which is what he's going to do.
That touchdown to Chase was, oh my god.
It's never the thing about Joe Flacco has never been a talent thing. It's been a decision making thing. His decision making's been bad.
They did not make him get out of the decision mode.
Nope. No. He just threw it right away. And so you think it's a coverage issue?
Well, okay, but is it the corners specifically, or is it what they're asking the corners to do? And I think it's that they need to press up and take the threat of you're going to get bit deep, because I'd rather them get beat deep than this nickel and dime down the field stuff.
I mean, they're constantly playing like a cover two, like constantly against most teams. At some point if you're Hafley, you got to say, well, let's cut that down from their top depth being like 13 to 15 yards of where they pass it off to like 7, depending on the sticks. Make them try and make whoever the quarterback take that whole shot between the corner and the safety, because I trust McKinney making that break more than I do Nixon making that play. I mean, it's just where you're spending your money. Yeah, that's where I would do, like how I would call is where are you spending your money? Where's your best players at? Put them in the position.
So let me play devil's advocate here, and maybe it's neither of the above. Maybe it's a Wyatt issue. I think things went off the rails when Wyatt went out of the game in Dallas.
When it comes to Wyatt, like I think he's done a great job in the interior pass rush, but he's played way better in the run. I think we stood up better against the run, because that's when I saw the Wyatt injury, I was really worried about the run, because Brooks and Wooden are both undersized when you're looking at interior defensive linemen. That's the only thing I was worried about, because if a team starts running on you, the whole playbook's open. So I was like, and they did a great job. And I just don't think those two guys, you can ask them to get that interior pass rush that you got from Wyatt, and you just got to try and deal with it. And until that point, try and do the best you can. But these quarterbacks aren't holding the ball long enough for them to even if they had a great first move, they probably don't even get to the quarterback as fast as they're getting the ball out. And you have to get these corners up. Like, you can still play cover too. Just beat the shit out of them on the first yard. Press the hell out of them, because even if you get beat, you're in a cover two. That's fine. Let them go. Let Evan Williams and McKinney make a play. I keep saying with these turnovers, there's no opportunities for them outside of fumbles, just because of the way they're playing. And I don't see anybody going in and punching at the ball or ripping at it.
That was interesting too. Is at the especially in the second half after that long drive by the Bengals. Every tackle by the Packers after that point, they were up high.
Yeah.
And they were falling over with the guy, and he's getting extra yards, and they were not in a position to punch the ball out, and they really weren't doing a whole heck of a lot of anything. It was just
there's nobody holding one guy up and then another guy coming in and punching it out. There's no turnovers by committee.
No.
Because then nine times out of 10, it takes more than one guy to get a turnover, especially a fumble. You know, we don't. Not everybody gets lucky like the Bears, and Washington just drops the ball. You know, it just doesn't happen all the time.
Well,
But also to the devil's advocate to that, the tackling was much better against this Bengals team
then it was against
than
Dallas.
it was against Allen. So it's like I
Still
would.
was not great.
It
It was
wasn't.
not like
It
what
was.
it had been prior in the first 3 games,
That's
but okay.
Yep. But I'd rather have a more focus on getting the entire tackle than trying to force a fumble from the tackle, because that could have been the thing that was making them miss tackles against Dallas, where they were more too turnover focused and going after the ball instead of securing the tackle first.
All right.
That's what I think there. Did you see a lot of the mid-level linebacker rushes from like Edge Cooper or Quay, or did you think it was kind of lost because of how quick the ball was coming out?
It's kind of lost because how quick the ball's coming out.
So what do you do
I
if
don't
you're
think-
Jeff Hafley then? How do you change that defense?
I mean, I'm old school. Just press up, play man. I'm going to throw it. You're going to throw it. You're going to throw it deep because I'm still going to suspect that I can get there with either Gary or Parsons, right?
If he can get there without getting WWE clotheslined, I mean I think it kind of goes along with almost the entire defensive line and how they're getting there. I mean,
Fun fact: did you know what contract expires on May 31st of 2026?
what contract?
Yes.
Is it like a sports contract?
No, it's the NFL officials contract expires on May 31st.
Well, since we're talking about the
Do you
NFL's
know,
officiating,
do you know who was the co-chair of the competition committee, and you know who the other guy is?
I don't. Is it you?
It's Jerry Jones is one of the most powerful forces in the NFL, and his kid just so happens to be the co-chair of the competitions committee.
How's that even allowed?
I am not one for conspiracy. I'm one for conspiracies. But you got to wonder if there's a little bit of Although it's been said, I mean, a lot of Dallas fans said that Micah Parsons does not get calls for some reason.
I mean, yeah, so I see it all the time on X, where they're like, "Oh, well, he wasn't getting calls for 4 years," and like I can, if the refs came out and said he just he beats the lineman so fast that we can't see it because we're looking at 9 other guys, like it's hard to see that off the rip because he beats them immediately first step. Then I was like, okay, but why? At some point, I know Matt LaFleur's gone over to that whoever that sideline judge is and been like, "Can you just watch this for 10 plays, and watch him?" Or does he get the superstar treatment? It's like, no, you better fight through it and win.
I am kind of less pissed off about the holding and more pissed off about the hands to the face stuff.
Yeah. I mean, because he's getting.
That's an easy call, right? When you got underneath there and your head's bent back, that's an easy call, and they're missing the easy.
And
call.
he's still getting 5+ pressures a game while getting held down by 3 guys that are 3 times his size combined. They're like 600 pounds going against his 250. And he's still fighting through and winning in his love. I'm just glad to see that his motor is still there, play after play, not getting discouraged, not getting pissed off about it, and just not going to try anymore. His motor is still high and still going. It's more disappointing not on Micah Parsons, but it is on Rashawn Gary, on his lack of production, because he gets one-on-ones all game long. He needs to start winning his one-on-ones.
Okay, sure. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think Gary's playing pretty well too.
I'm not saying he's playing bad. He just
here's the thing that's bizarre, right? They are getting pressures.
Yeah.
But they cannot get a bad throw out of a quarterback to save their life. And it's just I don't know what it's going to take for them to get a turnover.
Because their single meaningful turnover came off a bad throw from Jared Goff. Because he was under pressure. And then I think Dallas just showed the NFL the blueprint for the entire NFL on how to play this Green Bay Packers defense.
So we think Kyler Murray's going to play or not?
No.
Okay.
I don't think him or Marv's going to play. Even if Marv Harrison plays, I ain't really worried about him. I mean, he hasn't played good. I mean, he started getting it going in that Thursday night game, but I'm not really worried about him. But this team is just tough as shit. It's a tough team. It's just a tough built roster. And, Jacoby Brissett's kind of like a Joe Flacco 2.0. He's been everywhere, He's just a young Joe Flacco. He's been everywhere. You know, he knows every coverage. He knows everything you're looking at. But I think I think he is more privy to hold on to the ball because he doesn't have Joe Flacco's arm talent. Even at Joe Flacco at 67 years old, he still has good arm talent. Because Joe Flacco is, if Brett Favre started playing when Joe Flacco did, Brett Favre would still be playing right now if he was Joe Flacco's age because he's not getting touched. He maybe gets touched once a game. Joe Flacco does. You know? But who does Carrington Valentine need to replace somebody? Because he gets +5 to all of his attributes when he starts talking shit.
No, probably not. I mean, look, what is? I don't know. I mean, you paid a lot of money to Nate Hobbs. He hasn't played in the preseason.
I don't see the same physicality that everybody was talking about.
Yeah,
I don't see it.
He could be hurt.
Could be. I just don't see that same like the level of physicality that people were talking about.
I mean, probably Nixon is the best corner on the team right now. So you're not taking him off the field.
Nope.
I mean, yeah. I mean, put Valentine on the edge and move Hobbs inside, and you sit Bullard. I guess Bullard's been pretty solid.
I think it's just one of those things because I think Valentine is really good in man, and Hobbs is better in zone. And this just has to be one of those. But you can't show your cards every time you put Valentine on the field as man and Hobbs because I don't think Hobbs is good job in man. Because I just don't think he's the athlete to play man against a top receiver that you're paying him for. But I just thought I was going to see more physicality out of him. I would be more okay with a couple more DPIs. If you're going to play this level defense and where you're hoping to get your pass rushing, I'm okay with like 3 or 4 DPIs a game or, illegal contacts. You're not going to call them every time. If it's one of these things on how to stop them from throwing the ball out so fast, because they're not calling holding on Micah Parsons every play, and they're not going to call holding or defensive pass interference every play, because they would have if they do on that Jamar Chase touchdown, because that was a textbook DPI.
Yeah.
I think that's the fix, because just play how Tampa Bay played the Packers in a championship game. Just start grabbing, make the ref make a call. Make them.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just going to be nothing but offensive linemen and defensive backs next year.
Well, we have to wait till day 2, which is okay because we'll probably do better in day 2 than day 1. So yeah. I'm okay not having to watch 6 hours of the NFL draft on the first day, or worrying about staying up late.
I'm watching 6 hours.
It is so long, and it just waits so long, and I'm like, this is tough. Because what makes it tough is because I'm like, it's football. And then I wake up the next morning and there's no football being played. And that's when I kind of get depressed, is there's no football. To finish it out here, 2 more things. Kicker. Proud? Depressed? Do you want him on the team?
I have not. I have taken to leaving the room on all special teams plays.
I knew that was coming.
I can't watch it anymore. It hurt me too much.
Yeah,
I have to stop. So I have no statement to make. Nice that he made the kicks.
Good job. You did your job. You did your job.
Did they look good? I don't know.
I didn't see them.
I didn't see them.
All right, and then last topic is does the I'm gonna preface this with this. I think that the NFL should adopt a rule or change that they can challenge or review pre-snap penalties.
No.
That fixes the tush push.
Nothing screws up the world more than another meeting.
Well, no. Well, it just comes straight from New York, where you throw a flag. And
no, because that guy. That's like you could challenge for pass interference.
No, but the whole problem they took it back is because
the guy thinks.
No, because it can't be objective. It can't be objective. Like false start and offsides can't be objective. That's those two. Did the right guard move or did he not move? Because then you fix the tush push, because I don't think the tush push looks bad. It just looks bad. It's a fair play.
How
outside
about
of.
this? Can you challenge offsides?
That's what I'm saying, exactly, because it seems so.
Okay, but just offsides, right? Not motion, because now
Not motion. No,
you're
no, just false starts and offsides. Because if you that's the easy.
no false start, no, because that's now like did the ball move or did it start to move? Blah blah blah. No, I will do it offsides because you can tell whether you lined up offsides or not.
I think it's fair, but I think that fixes. But well, if you clarify the ball moving, because there should be a line of demarcation that a center is able to move the ball up to.
Here, how about we just do this? Stop pushing the damn runner, and that fixes.
Can we just go back to what was it 6 years ago when that wasn't a rule when you couldn't do that? Because if you can't pull somebody,
here's the thing too. I mean, I was watching. I think it was college football, and they're going to get somebody's going to get really messed up.
Somebody already got hurt in that Thursday night game.
They hold them up. They don't blow the whistle. They don't do it. And then all of a sudden, all the shoving starts.
Yep.
And then, oh, yes, he gets an additional 4 yards. But it's just a mass of humanity, and it's just stupidity.
And I'm so glad you brought that up, because I think that's another issue that the officiating crew is having is, when does forward progress stop? Because we saw it in the Packers game on many instances. When Tyron Hopper, he slammed him to the ground. That's fine. Give them a penalty for that. But as soon as he touched him, they blew the whistle immediately. And then 3 plays later, Chase Brown gets the ball, or P. Brown gets the ball. He gets wrapped up with a 2-yard gain. And then he takes 5 steps, and then here comes 3 more linemen to go push it along, and now it's an 8-yard gain.
And those steps were lateral or be backwards. They were not going forwards anymore.
No, he was stopped. He was stopped dead in his tracks. And I remember sitting there watching. I was like, when are they going to blow the whistle? This play's dead. This play is dead. And then they just don't blow the whistle. And it happens all the time. And I think it's an officiating problem. Even, Matt even said it in his presser that, we gotten away with some offsides or some holdings, as long as it can concrete. But it's so inconsistent across the league, no matter what crew you get. It's so inconsistent, and I just don't know how you fix it, because making them full-time refs isn't going to fix it. But what's going to fix the NFL officiating to make it better? Not necessarily fix it. What's going to make it better?
Good contract, full-time officials who are league employees, and get rid of defensive pass interference on underthrows.
That I can't agree with you more. That having a shitty throw, this is how much it winds me up. I can't get my words right. Having a shitty throw and getting rewarded is like doing a bad job at your job and getting a pay raise. It's terrible.
You have not spent time in the real world yet, have you, son? That's how it always works.
Not enough. Because you can do a bad job and get a pay raise. It just doesn't make sense to me. I'm still in the things that make sense mindset. Like, let's use common sense here. But I couldn't. Oh, that is a big one. Do you think refs should be fined, just like players are?
No.
Even if it's like, you know how they review the games and they get knocked for like, this was a missed call, this was a missed call, this was a missed call. Let's say you have 7 missed calls in a game, $10,000 fine.
So no, because it's not a fine. That's just stupid. But here's what you could do: if you had full-time officials, because everybody's hanging out in New Jersey, right? And all they're doing is working and watching film and making decisions and trying to normalize calls across the crews. You could have people in, practice squad officials, and if you're screwing it up, you're down. The practice squad guy is up, and we'll sit here in New Jersey and work on this a little bit with you.
What about even taking that, and that works, because you know how there's always like 3 or 4 officials on the side in case one gets injured? Dictating that as an in-game change.
Do you think those guys are legitimately real officials? Do you think those are just the local high school, college guys from there that they signed up on a contract?
They're stunt dummies. Yeah, they're like WWE players, superstar fans that they just plant just so you feel better about it. You're just a plant. You're planted in here to make the viewers feel better that it's a more equally called game.
You are correct, sir.
Well, Soder, to end it off, I got one last thing for you. What do the Packers need to do to get over whatever hump that is that they're facing? Whether it's because one game the defense will play well, visually, maybe not statistically. Statistically, they're always playing good outside that Cowboys game. but visually this doesn't appear to be pleasing. What is it that they need to do to get over the hump, to kind of get this offense rolling, get this defense back rolling, to go on a little bit of a run here before we play the Philadelphia Eagles?
Well, so they've won every game where they really haven't turned the ball over. So stop turning the ball over, especially
That was
stop turning
bad.
the ball over inside your 20.
Was Jordan Love throwing to you on that interception? Was he throwing it to you?
As soon as that thing got batted up in the air, it was just
Even
like,
just looking, I have no idea who he said it was Romeo Dobbs. I thought it was you that he was throwing it to.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It was an awful throw. But yeah, stop turning the ball over, block up your field goals, and get a turnover.
Yeah.
I mean, how little is this? Don't throw a damn stupid ass pick anymore, especially coming out of the half, which is something he's been prone to do, or at the end of the half. Block the kick, just block up your field goal attempts, and just get a turnover. Here's something weird for you. How about this? Why has Rich Bisaccia not done the overload on any of the field goal block attempts yet? Every other NFL team is overloaded left or right. He has not overloaded it once, I don't think. I still think he's playing base.
That's a great question, and I don't know enough about like special teams when it comes to like schematics of special teams to understand why you wouldn't. Because you would only run base if somebody's recently ran a fake on you, as religious, you know. Or you just don't want to hit the kicker. Maybe he just doesn't want to cause a penalty there.
But everybody else is blocking kicks by putting 3 people out there and really pushing the edge, right?
Yeah, the system looked better when we kept our starting offensive lineman out there. Said, "Stop crying, play one more play." It looked a whole lot better, but it still, at the back of your mind, you're still like, I'm just waiting for it, because you texted me when we were up 10 saying we need one stop and this game's over, and I was like, don't you say that to me. I've read this story before. I've seen this movie. I don't like this. I don't like this, because that's what it does. And I said on Monday, or Sunday night, I said, when Matt LaFleur is up by 10, it feels like we're losing.
Yeah.
It feels like we're
You're
losing.
A Wisconsin sports fan. What the hell do you expect?
I know. It's bad. It's bad. Well, it's
in your nature. You can't help it.
I don't know. Because I've always said that these guys know you've forgotten more than I've known. But sometimes he makes it hard. He makes it hard for me to still believe that. Just stuff he does. But it is what it is. We love him because, at least they're going to give us an entertaining game every Sunday. Even I don't ever care what the sports spread is, and I still believe it's very hard to win the NFL, and it doesn't matter what I never look at the point spread because I don't think it matters. I think it's absolutely irrelevant.
Well, this point spread isn't designed to tell you what they think the score of the game's going to be. It's designed to get 50-50 distribution of money, guys.
That's right.
It's just a measure of the psychology of bettors.
Hey, there you go. That's all. Hey. There's your, for anybody out there looking to bet. There's the reason why there's the spread from the genius of numbers himself. I don't know anybody else that knows numbers the way Soder knows it. So take that for what you believe in and go make some money with it. Well, Soder, I appreciate the hell out of you for coming on and chatting some Packers and giving me a little history lesson.
No problem, man. You have a fantastic night. Enjoy your Bud Light.
I will.
Or your Busch Light, excuse me.
Busch Light's the best. That's the best beer right there, in my opinion. It's quality and quantity, Soder. Quality and quantity.
Yeah, okay. Have a good night, Eddie.
You too.